Hey guys, today's Sunday, February the 12th of 2023, and I want to go over the metals market using some of my charts. This is going to be a little different. This is going to be a mix of simple glance, my squeeze plate chart, and my what I call a linear regression channel, multi, which is monthly, weekly, and daily. So without any further delay, let's get into it. As you can see right here, we got a hockey stick on the monthly. So a hockey stick on the MACD is something like this. That means that it can have a potential for a turning point down. But we'll see. As you can see on the weekly, already have it negative. We hit the value area high in 1941. On the weekly, you can see at 1975. I mean, it pierced it up here, but the weekly caught it with the linear regression channel on the top. And now we got a PPS sell signal that triggered this week. Although the trend is up, you can see that last week's price action is a little negative. You got that 1880, which is kind of hovering around there. Your next one will be that 1848. But if that doesn't hold, your next target will be the point of control 1812, where the 50 SMA is. What's holding it right now is the 50 SMA on the daily. You got this linear regression channel right here that if it does a little, head fake to trap some bears, maybe it could try to bounce. But you got to keep looking at the dollar because the dollar, seasonality wise, February 2nd, 2nd and 3rd, it gets strong. So if it's, and also this is a wave 3, if I could remember, and if this is going to be the wave 4, then there's one more impulse down for a wave 5, which could technically mean that, the gold could retest these highs or maybe push higher. But if that doesn't play out with the dollar, it could put some pressure and it could bring it down all the way to 1807. Key levels to watch would be the midpoint. This is my midpoint chart, 1848. If it pushes lower, this needs to hold. That's the line in the sand, 1848. 1891 on the monthly. You can see on the weekly, you're negative. On the daily, you're negative. Monthly, you're kind of gray. It's kind of hovering, dancing around there. But 1891 is very important. Also, 1848. Squeeze plate chart, you can see that the monthly is still, trending. And it's still positive, still trending. But last week, like I said, was a little weak. Got a PPS sell signal. And you can see the range is 1874 to 1875. So if this could hold, first target to the up will be that 20. And if that pierces through that, then it'll retest the high. Linear regression channels, you can see it failed there. If it's going to push lower, 1826 on the weekly should be support. And also right here, should hold right there if there's going to be a pullback on the dollar going down. Let's go next to HG, which is copper. You can see that copper got a nice little pop, kind of hanging around the 20 SMA on the monthly. Kissed the value area high of 427 and pierced it even, but pulled right back in and failed this key level on the cloud, which is at 409. Right now it's at 401. But there is support there at the 50 SMA. You got the 20, and the point of control is 355. So right now it's going to get a little wild because now it's in the cloud. You got a MACD sell-off, crossover. And, volume has been pretty negative the last, 3 weeks, but the last 2 weeks have been very negative. And you had a 13 Tom DeMark candle, value area low below it now, and you got the 50 holding support, 50 SMA, and you got the 395 of support. So hopefully this would hold. If not, this should hold. But if that doesn't hold, then point of control 382. But if that holds, maybe another bounce, maybe a failed new high, or maybe test the high and continue going higher. Key level to watch, 408. That's the line in the sand, and we are below it. That's the yearly midpoint. On the monthly, it's 403, and you can see that this is a strong level. You're already below on the weekly and the negative on the daily, so that's all negative. And you can see that it was trending, and now it's positive. But like I said, last 2 weeks have been trend is positive, but a little weakness kicking in. And what's holding it is the 50 SMA on the daily. And linear regression channel, midpoint failed right there. This is the midpoint from another linear regression channel, so that 38,385 should hold. Well, this looks positive. This looks positive. And this area right here of 390 should hold if it pushes another flush down. Maybe the dollar wants to do another, push higher, and then maybe retest that high or try to retest that high. Silver is very weak. Look at that. Just looking at the weekly, you could tell that it was just hovering over the point of control, which is at 24, and it just failed. PPS sell signal. It never got like gold all the way up to like 26 value or high. It just slammed dunked down. The 2275 failed, the strong level of 2243. Now it's below it. You're finding support at the 20 and the 50 SMA. You got the 200 right there. But if all that fails and wants to push lower, your value area low, it will be 1997. MACD negative here. Volume has been very negative the last couple of weeks. And that hockey stick looks like this, which is not good on the monthly. Although on the monthly, it's kind of just, positive. Weekly is, midterm kind of weakness. And at the daily, you can see that you lost, the 50, the 20 SMA, the point of control, value area low, this little level right here, 2270. Now you got this one, which is 2179. If that doesn't hold, this 100 right there. And if that fails, linear regression channel is pointing down. You got the 200 SMA, which is at 2106. You can see that market sentiment is now starting to get negative on the daily. Although this looks like it wants to kind of variable, so maybe want to try to regain. But like I said, keep an eye on the dollar. Key levels, the yearly is at 2244. It's kind of grayish, so that means that you're below it. You could try to retest it, but if that fails, that's pretty much a guaranteed short right there, and go long the dollar. Negative on the monthly, negative on the daily and the weekly. So key level 2244. That's very important right there. Looks like it's about to turn. You can see that now the trend on the silver is different. Remember the other ones I showed you, copper and gold kind of looks like this. Now silver is negative, even though it's finding support right here, but the trend has turned. You can see that reflecting here. And lastly, linear regression channels never kissed it to the midpoint and failed this midpoint right here on this channel. So if it pushes lower, this 2108 will be, support. And if that fails, this one around the 20. Midpoint will be that 20 right here on the daily. So if this doesn't hold right here and maybe try to regain, then this is going to be your next level of support. And on the monthly, it's that 2122, which this is the midpoint right here. So if it pushes down, hopefully this would hold. Platinum, this is going to be interesting. Platinum, it pierced the value area high. It went all the way as high right here. There was a little resistance level right there, and it failed. Failed the point of control, failed this 50% right here, which was 1,000. And now you're kind of dancing around the 20, the 50 and the 200. If that doesn't hold and the dollar pushes higher, you're probably going to go back to the value area low, and you get this linear regression chart. So this would probably be a buying opportunity. If it ever gets down here, this is where you probably want to maybe dip your toes. But so far, it is not looking good. The cloud looks like it wants to get negative, and that strong level right here, 955. Oh, where's 955? So that's somewhere around right here. And this is a monthly strong level point of control. So this whole area right here, 97, 970 all the way 955, and you got the 50. So that'd probably be your target where you at, which is it closed at 951. So that's where it's kind of hovering. But if that doesn't hold, 849 in this area right here. And you can look at the daily, it's very negative. Even took out the value area low of a 981. And right now, I believe it kissed the 200 SMA, which is 949. If that doesn't hold, it's probably going to 920, pretty much 849. That's what I'm betting on. It's going to go lower. And this one is even uglier. Look at the midpoint, 996. It failed and it's pushing lower. If that doesn't hold, whatever the support is, 886. And monthly is negative, weekly is negative, daily is negative. I'm not even going to bother with levels. These are the big levels. It's hovering around here. There's that 936. You can even go to 912. So yeah, it's not looking good. Platinum. And you can see that it's negative. It kissed the 50 on the SMA. The trend is down. PPSL signal. The trend is negative. You're battling the 50 and the 200. And you're finding support as of right now at the 200 on the daily. Linear regression channels, you're pretty much at the midpoint of the mobile bands on the monthly chart. And this is the next linear regression channel holding there. But if that doesn't hold, the next one will be somewhere around 877 in that ballpark. And you fail that point of control, and you fail on the daily point of control. And this is pretty big. So you got this level right here. If it doesn't find a bounce there, and if it cracks through there, 862 will be your next level, you know, if it gets down there. And the last one, the one that really surprised me, because I feel like there's a lot, I mean, it's negative. This one is even below the cloud on the monthly, and the monthly is already looking negative. You can see there's nothing positive here, and some of the daily cycles are, you know, kind of bottoming out. There's a few that are into the future that are very close in February, but very negative. Got to push even lower. And there's the 100, which is at 1421 right here. And if we look at the weekly chart, there's a Tom D mark, 13th candle that just created a trigger. It may work, it may not, but if it's going to push lower, you got this linear regression channel right here, which is at 1407. It could potentially even push even lower. Volume was ugly last week, very ugly and strong, which surprised me. Took out the value area low. It's not looking good. And then the daily, I mean, you had a Tom D mark right here, and it was looking promising, and I thought it was going to this was going to be the swing low, and that hasn't happened. So it's one of those things that the cycles are like this, and it's getting very close to where the midpoint is, but it's like that bell curve, and you just kind of have to kind of see, you know, wait for price action to capitulate. It looks like this just started to capitulate, but I think we're very close to some kind of bottom, but we have to wait for price action to confirm it. And I thought that was happening. I did a video like saying that, you know, Palladium is waking up, but it woke up and then it went back to sleep. Now, as you can see, we never got back to the midpoint, which was 2277. And it's below these lows of, you know, previous years. So it's just, yeah, you can see it's right below it. Whatever that 1531 is at 1522. It's going to push lower. Next target would be 1191. On the monthly, it's close to this target 1517. If it's going to push lower, 1454 would be the next target. And you can see that it's just negative. There's nothing positive here. If it's going to regain anything, it needs to regain 1582. Let's look at the squeeze plate chart, and you can see that it's below. This one is just ugly, below. But I feel like it's look at that. Look at the squeeze plate. It's just been red, and just down. I mean, something has to give. It can't just go down forever. But you don't want to catch a falling knife. The support at the 100 SMA 1421, and there's the 200 978. Is it going to go down there? Not looking good. This was the range of 1767 all the way to 3425. Now it's below that. If it's anything of the metals, Palladium is the worst. Of all the not all the moving averages, but most of them. You got the 100 and the 20, the 200 and the 100. And there's nothing really here on the weekly, and there's nothing, like I said, the 13th kicked in there, and it's just there was a squeeze play here, and it triggered negative right here, and you can see that it pushed lower. In regards to the linear regression channels, you failed the midpoint, you failed here, and you failed here. If it's going to push lower, the next support will be 1311, and this would probably be an ideal place to get in if it ever gets down there. That would probably be a great opportunity. You can see right here on the weekly, this is a great area to accumulate or to consider. You also have this on the more fractal linear regression channel, but right now it's at support. But if that doesn't hold, you got this level, which is at 1306. And looking at the daily, it failed that midpoint, and there's a 1369. You got this one right here. I mean, I don't know if it's gonna get all the way down there, but right now this is where it's at. And it's at this support on the weekly linear regression channel. But if it pushes lower, this would probably be a possible target, 1307. I think that's it for me. Hopefully you like this video, but the worst one of the bunch is Palladium. And I feel like the bottom is very close. It's just a matter of when that hits, it's going to turn. But so far right now, the price action is not confirming that. I'm waiting for the commitments of trader report to see what the commercial are doing and all this other stuff. But that's it. I'm going to sign out. Hope you like this video, and I keep you posted on my thoughts on the metals sector.